Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, we are back and we are gonna show off our mechaphilia.
No.
It's ARPG, it's episode I really don't remember anymore. And it's time to talk about mechs.
I think it's like
Yes, mechs, the genre that anime forgot.
Give me something. Wait a second.
How you doing, Lucas?
I'm trying to figure out what the number is. This is 21.
Does not feel like 21.
This is 31.
31. Okay, that would be it. We've been doing this almost for a year now.
Almost.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Anyway, how are you? It's good seeing you a couple days ago. One of the reasons why we haven't recorded episodes in a couple weeks is because I went to visit my parents. It was fun. It was nice. Now it's time to get back here and rage about all that's wrong in the anime and video games and manga world.
Not that they would have noticed because they still put up videos a couple times a day, anyways.
Yeah, but when you realize and listen to the videos, it's like, wait a minute, this is from spring. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's not supposed to.
Who cares? Alrighty, I think because we do cover video games, we should talk about what's happening with Activision Blizzard.
Ugh.
Just disgusting, isn't it?
Me Too movement at it again. Come on, man. I thought we learned from this. I thought we learned from the big Me Too movement already, but apparently we haven't.
Well, it feels like more like this whole thing has been building up for a long time. Right?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And this feels more like a Blizzard thing than, like... I think the best way I could heard it said is, like, this is more Blizzard than Activision, right? Like, Activision's still at fault here for the way they're handling it, but, like, this is coming from, like, Blizzard Studios.
Yeah.
And it's just disgusting.
It really is. I think the president stepped down because of it?
Yeah, he literally just stepped down. He wasn't fired, so you know. There's an issue in its own right.
That is an issue in its own right.
Like, how the hell... here's what I don't get. How the hell do people just go up there and not say, you know what, you're fired, right?
Is there... I thought it was like I thought there was like a thing of board of executives after the president.
Yeah, well, I mean, they could probably... It just feels like they're just letting him go to escape so he can escape punishment.
Maybe.
And then you see some stuff like some of the weird stuff that happened years ago. There's this video circulating around about, it was BlizzCon 11 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked pretty much the idea of, can we get women characters designed less, like, sexually?
Oh, somebody just randomly, some random
person? No, it was like, you know, the Q&A to developers, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
And she asked, simply put, I want to just get the exact words. Pretty much her question was, WoW has a lot of, like, you know, strong and independent female characters, right? So can we have some that don't look like they've stepped out of a Victoria's Secrets catalog?
Oh.
And the responses from them were disgusting.
Wait, are they really? Are they really all look like they're walking? Let's see here.
Here it is, right here. Here it is. Here's the video.
Nah.
And the responses were disgusting. Because rather than addressing her question, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, okay, well, what catalog would you want to see them walk out of?
Oh.
And it's just like, it's like I've been saying, this has clearly been bubbling up in Blizzard for years.
I mean, I guess I see where they're coming from, but at the same time, it's
But Chewy, this was in 2010. This was almost 12 years ago.
This is...
Like, you can see where this culture Blizzard has started.
And
did you? And there's another
response.
thing that was disgusting. So, Blizzard.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
A lot of stuff has come up since the whole lawsuit has came in, right? Blizzard had a suite during BlizzCon called the Cosby Suite.
Oh.
You obviously know who's that a reference to, right?
Yes. But when was that?
2013, 2014.
When did we...
Based on the photographs and screenshots Facebook posts obtained by Kotaku, it is clear that people beyond Alex Afasavabi, the man named in the lawsuit and a longtime WoW developer, were aware of the Cosby Suite mentioned in the lawsuit. That was apparently the nickname for the developer's BlizzCon 2013 room, and he named it after previously convicted rapist Bill Cosby.
When did Cosby get convicted?
Well, it's not when he got convicted. It's more when Cosby's stuff started coming up, right?
Yeah, which was, you know...
I want to say it's 2011?
The cause... There we go. 2000.
Yeah. But, like, it's just that part's just tasteless, right?
Then again, it also... Well, 2000 was, like, when a couple of them popped up, but then the Me Too movement around 20... Was it, like, 1918 area? Then started to surge all the rest of them, basically.
Even then, though, like...
I feel like it was 2019 at least.
You can't go, oh, it's just the Me Too movement and whatnot. It's disgusting.
No, I'm not saying it's just the Me Too movement. I'm saying that's when the main, like, a lot of allegations, like, started coming up, and then
it's kind of when women just stopped being like, you know what, we're gonna fucking do something about it.
Yeah, and that's when, you know, became more into light. I don't think the 2001 was actually
like
when Cosby got actually rooted out.
How are we still in this time and age when shit like this is just happening on the regular, it seems?
Huh. It's, yeah, I mean, very, how should I say, patriarchal still, or we're moving from patriarchal, I guess, but we're still living in a patriarchal society type of thing. We're starting to move forward a little, but not yet. And then, again, a little bit of, well, I mean, a little bit of still, how should I say, moving out from, like, a conservatism and fully white empowered type of, you know, upbringing for a while. I don't know. It's really, yeah, it's archaic, but we're moving forward, you know.
And that's not even like we're not even remembering that the Riot Games situation.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't say white empowered. I should just say just, you know, it was minority, you know, yeah. Majority, I should say. There we go, yeah. Yeah.
Again, the Riot Games situation still hasn't been technically resolved either.
Oh, the one with Riot Games?
Yeah, remember there was a Riot Games abuse story that popped up, I believe, 2-3 years ago?
Oh.
And it was pretty much very similar to what's happening in Blizzard.
Oh.
And like, there really hasn't been an issue, hasn't been something done about that either. It's just kind of went silent.
Ow. Yeah. Yeah. Jesus. Oh,
And I don't know, I feel like this is a reckoning in a sense. Like it could be. This could be like Blizzard has been falling down for years now, right?
Like I feel like Blizzard's already fallen to this point. It's already fallen, yeah.
Yeah, like Blizzard's just been like slowly dying for years. WoW just keeps getting more lambasted, while Final Fantasy 14 is becoming like the premier MMO.
Lol.
They're having to release Overwatch 2 because they failed so miserably in Overwatch 1. Like, there's no reason to release a sequel for a game like Overwatch. It's just stupid.
It really is. I mean, it's just literally...
Like, that's just ridiculous. There's actually no physical reason to release a game sequel for Overwatch.
It's a... What? Objective skills shooter type of thing. And like, why do you need a sequel for that? Well, actually, it almost reminds me of just COD at that point.
To an extent, yeah. I mean, it plays totally different, but like...
With no story, though. That's the entire thing.
But at least with Call of Duty...
It's literally only online mode, so yeah, why do we need a sequel for that?
Yeah, but at least with Call of Duty always came with a single player of varying quality.
Yeah. And then also had different types of modes as well.
Yeah, different types of modes, zombies, Spec Ops mode. Like, there was always something more than just multiplayer.
Yeah, and this one, it did have different modes. It's just like, just...
But then Overwatch is just like, we are solely multiplayer, and then all of a sudden it's just like, wait, people want a single player? Oh, okay, let's just cash in on it rather than just like releasing a DLC for people who want it. And then apparently they're changing the game to the point where people are pissed off about it.
Oh yeah, they're changing from 6 to 5.
Which is just gonna throw tanks out the fucking window.
It's weird. It really is.
And then there's, of course, the whole Diablo Immortal situation. Do you guys have phones?
No.
I
don't have phones.
Remember when Blizzard was the shit?
You mean... was...
Like, Blizzard was probably one of the best game developer companies in the early 2000s.
That was like WoW and Diablo and stuff.
StarCraft,
Warcraft, yeah.
And it's just falling apart. And I think the one thing that goes under the rug is how badly they destroyed Heroes of the Storm.
Ugh.
Like, just, especially the esports scene. If you didn't know, Heroes of the Storm just randomly shut down one day. Their whole esports, and again, yeah. But anyway, enough about that nonsense. There's a lot of better people who do better job at it. Go look at the Four Horsemen video that was released about it with Monty Thorin and Richard Lewis. Jason Schreier's covering it well. Like, it's being covered, and hopefully we see some actual fucking change for once.
Hopefully. But, never know.
Alrighty, you want to bounce to Animu?
I hope. Sure.
The summer season is a good 5-6 weeks in, so let's talk about it. Chewie, please tell me you've watched at least a couple shows.
I watched 1, maybe 2.
Alrighty, well, aren't you watching Remain?
I am watching Remain, and for whatever reason, they threw the title in as a line, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, it actually has some lot more significance in the actual anime itself than I thought. But okay, it's starting to get interesting-ish. At the same time, I think literally, what? Okay, basically they finally got enough players to play water polo.
It's one of those types of situations where they're like, oh, we want to remake this team that used to be here and good.
Nope, not at all.
Really?
Not at all. The main character has amnesia, used to be a water polo champ, won inter-high with another school. Then he got into a major vehicular accident, which caused him to lose his memory.
Wait. So the character, Minato, a former water polo player who quit for some reason, the reason is amnesia?
He literally got into a vehicular accident, went to a coma, and as a result, he woke up and he lost like half of his memories. Basically, all of his memories of middle school. He only remembers like 5th grade and something, and he's slowly remembering, but not really at the same time. There's like some hard progress. He finally wakes up after like a year, I believe, or was it a couple months or something? Because then he's now in high school and he doesn't remember anything. He's now in like 5th grade memory wise, and he's been told like he won inter-high in middle school in water polo.
Weird.
With these like dudes which he doesn't even remember at all. And he like sees his family and he's like, oh, you gotten a little older, you know, and he's bigger and stuff like that. His little sister's like bigger and stuff. His mom's like older and dad's older and stuff like that. And he's like, huh. And he looked at himself and he's like, you know, I'm different looking and stuff. And he has to basically live in a world which he's unfamiliar with. And somehow gets tied back into water polo.
It seems like he was dragged into water polo again, kicking and screaming.
Yeah, basically. Because, what was it? The 3rd year or something of the captain's the only member of the water polo club at the moment. There was a kohai from his, other school. That he won inter-high with, followed him, and became a member. And then the MC Chiho-chan, by the way, thick and great, character design. She, for whatever reason, is tied into him in his past, gives him a kiss on the cheek, and then is like, oh, you don't remember, shit. Because, like, apparently they made a promise about, if he won inter-high, she would kiss him or something. And he did. But, it's a promise to his old self when he doesn't remember. So then she made... I'm going to assume she just made this up. But, she said, you also promised me if you win... high school or something, inter-high, I would be your girlfriend or something, but if you didn't, you would owe me, what is it? It was an absurd amount of money. It's like 160 million yen or something.
She's essentially taking advantage of it.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, but that was like a promise to my old self. It's like, but I fulfilled my promise to you when you were, even though you had amnesia and stuff. It's like, what kind of reasoning is that and stuff like that. So it got kind of absurd, and then he just, like, he started panicking. He's like, that's a lot of money. So
I mean, there's probably a sense of truth to it.
So he went and he joined the water polo club, even though he was like, I don't remember how to. They got 2 first years, I believe, and another 2nd year who... one of the first years, like, a Nigerian really tall boy. He's just like, yeah, I'll try it out type of thing. But, inspired by, what is it? Minato's, admitting, like, he doesn't remember shit. Because everyone else is trying to take advantage of that he was used to be a champion or whatever in middle school, and that they would carry him to the championship. But, he admitted that he doesn't remember shit. doesn't remember anything whatsoever. So, don't put that stuff on him. But two kids, the Nigerian tall boy and the short Japanese kid, stick around because they're like, they're inspired by that. And then there was like some, was it a baseball reject or something that came over? That thought he could, because he was an athlete, he could, be a star player right away in water polo. But he, learned that, it's not as easy as it seems. Then they got somehow a really fast swimmer to join as well. That's also first year. Turns out he didn't want to swim at all, so he's trying to join like other clubs. And he didn't want to play water polo because it required swimming. Only because it reminded him of his competition with his brother or something. And how he how his brother had basically, even though he's a really good swimmer and like always beat him, just like upped and left swimming for water polo or something. So then he beat his records, and then he's like, I didn't feel like I really beat him, so he got bored of, or got tired of swimming basically after a while once he got into that, and then now he's in this funk and all that stuff. But then turns out that brother of his is one of Minato's the teammate that won Inter-High with him. And he's like, oh, well, if my brother has such high hopes for you and thinks that he has a chance to beat, you have a chance to beat him, then I'm going to join this team and I'm going to get my revenge on my brother. Even though he kind of won the whole competition where they were trying to get him, Yeah,
the show seems to have a lot more depth than I assumed it would.
They were having a swimming competition to convince him to join, where they had like the entire team versus him basically, and he had a 5-second handicap or something. But no, yeah, that was he won that, but yeah, and then he came back because he saw his brother and stuff come by and.
Oh my god! I just looked at the Nigerian character's name.
Yeah.
Yutaka Baba Yaro Inomata.
Yep. His dad's a patissier.
Yeah, it's like his father moved here and he has a gentle personality.
And guess what, Marcel? Their first practice match was supposed to be against the neighboring school that what is it, Chiho's in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, we're all sick, so we called in a substitute. It's a primary school team, I'm pretty sure.
It's the defending national champions.
No, it's primary school kids. They're 6th graders.
Oh.
I think they literally 6th graders. And they scored a point on them.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, the kids scored a point on the high school team. Minato's team.
Huh.
Literally, that's it. Oh, that was the end of the last episode, but yeah, so alright.
Interesting.
They're very weak.
Alrighty, well, you talked about one. I'll talk about another then. How may I put this, Chewie? I am so unbelievably happy to see Maid Dragon back.
Oh. Okay.
Like, it's just... To see that Maid Dragon is not only back, but by all intents and purposes, Kyoto Animation haven't lost a fucking step. It just warms my cold, dead heart.
Wasn't that the wasn't that the series with the really absurdly large-breasted other dragon came in?
Yeah, apparently they tried to defend that with this is a Lulu trying to have a normal body.
Huh.
Yeah, dragons are weird. Either way, it's so nice to see it back, especially after, you know, the arson attack a couple of years ago.
Kill Annie. Yeah.
So, like, that's really made Dragon. I'm just incredibly happy to see it doing well. And it is doing well. The second season is really good. You know what I want to be better, but just isn't?
Senro Ginseki.
How are people rating this show as high? Am I missing something? Like, I try to not take Malice seriously as ever. But when I saw the first 4 episodes of this show at like 7.5, I just sat there and just said to myself, what?
Oh, jeez.
Like, I will give the show credit where it deserves. It takes the isekai genre, and it does something that is honestly pretty interesting to me. So there's normal reincarnations, right? There's normal, like, oh, I've just been transferred to another world, right? But there's also a different type of transfer where while you are still transferred to another world, instead of just, you know, you being you, your soul is put in another body, but that other soul's still there. So it's kind of like, I'm trying the best way to explain it. So the main character of the show, right? Haruto, or by his other name, where is it?
I'm
Rio, yeah. So the main character, Rio, he's both Ryu and Haruto. So Ryu has inherited everything from Haruto, memory-wise.
Well, there's a Facebook notification sound in this recording because I opened up Facebook and somebody replied in the chat.
Yeah, Jack and Byron are trying to set it up. But like we see things ever. Like Latifa, the girl who was sent to kill him. She inherited the memories of, I believe her name was Aiko, who was one of his friends. I want to get her exact name.
I thought it was one of
Endo.
I thought it was the little girl that he
it
was
is
nice
the little
to.
girl
That he was nice to. I don't know if it was a friend.
Yeah, it is the little girl who they died in the same accident, right?
Yeah, they seem to die in the same bus.
Yeah, and so
she got fucking crushed.
Like she inherits those memories. Of course, the way the show does it, and I kind of like it, is that she inherits the memories, and then you see her getting tortured.
Yeah.
So it immediately makes you feel for the character because it's just like, oh, and they don't deserve this, right?
None of them deserve it.
And it makes you attached to, and it really works on that idea. I just wish they'd do something with it. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm sitting here waiting for Rio to find out Latifa's endo. I honestly believe that would make the show so much better.
But, like, Endo wasn't that even big of a thing to him. He was just the little girl that I knew.
Even if that's so...
I think it'd be more, whatchamacallit, if it was actually the person that he liked originally.
Well, I mean, Endo has a giant crush on him.
Yeah. The little girl has a gigantic crush on the older high schooler because he was nice to her. Yeah. But I think it'd be more impactful if it was actually, like, say...
one of the girls he knew.
Haruto, either a really good friend of Haruto's or, well, I don't think even... Or that girl he fell in love with and, like, made that promise to. Maybe she died in a vicious accident, too. I don't know. I mean,
I already know the other girl you mentioned, but, like, I don't know. I just want something to come up with that story point. Because to me, that story point's pretty cool. It's a nice twist on the isekai genre. And I feel like if something comes up with that, it'd make the show far more enjoyable to me. Since, yeah, you know what? You are right. Endo is like, they didn't, but he still knew of her. There's no way in hell he didn't realize, hey, I keep seeing this girl always here on the bus. All right? Like, I don't think, like, Haruto / Ryu is that oblivious, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And that's my issue. This show has set itself up to have a nice story with the whole inheritance and reincarnation, but it's doing absolutely nothing with it, and it is relying on isekai tropes that make me want to rip my eyes out.
Oh.
Like, the first 3 episodes was the most typical isekai bullshit I've ever seen.
Wow.
Man transferred to another world. Turns out man has superpowers. Right? And then he goes to academy. As a peasant, he's hated by the rich. Like, we've seen this a million freaking times.
OPER. Gotta just have a struggle. Start from the bottom, now we're here. Gotta have
it's just
harem.
I'm looking at the show and it has the chance to do something interesting, and it just doesn't. It just fucking doesn't.
Hey.
All right, rage over. I've been watching. There are 3 shows I want to go quickly through because I think they're both shows that represent. Those 3 shows represent potential the best, if you ask me.
Okay. All right.
All right. First is Kageki Shojo.
You're talking about the
one about girls trying to get into a opera company.
Yeah, theater house.
Yeah. It's really good. I really like it. They ran into a bit of an issue with the first arc, and I honestly don't know how they could get away from it.
The one with the fan?
Yeah, with the stalker.
Yeah, okay.
Because they ripped themselves into a corner, if you know what I mean, right?
Well, with the...
By that I mean is that...
The fan being so stalkerish, but yet still somehow understands that he was...
at fault, and he's the reason why she quit.
And then he stalks her again to say apologize something?
Here's the thing. The guy obviously knows right from wrong to half an extent, but I think he is so mentally fucked in the head that he didn't realize, maybe going across the country and stalking this woman wasn't the greatest idea to say sorry.
Not the greatest way to say sorry.
But, like, then we get to the stories, right? And I think the I character story was great.
The what? Idea what story?
The I character story.
The I.
Her name's I. AI.
AI.
And
artificial intelligence. Alan.
Pretty much her whole character story is related to the fact that she became mentally broken after her mother ignored her calls for help after the boyfriend sexually assaulted her.
Oh.
And because of that, she hates all men. And that's why she quit her idol gig, is because when the stalker touched her, she just lost it.
Oh, yeah. Right. That lady. Yeah, okay.
And it was a great story, connects you better to I. I's now becoming a more evolved character. She's easier to look at with longer hair.
Cinderace is getting nerfed.
Yeah, but Cinderace was bullshit.
Oh.
But yeah, no, she's becoming a great character. And I also like how really well they've done a good job at making Sarasa just stick out like a sore thumb. Yeah.
Sarasa.
The tall blonde.
Sriracha. I'm gonna call it.
Like, I like how they are making her stick out like a sore thumb, because that's the point of her. She's meant to be this odd girl coming in who is nothing like everyone else there. Like, everyone else there is petite, slender figure, you know, all that. While on the other side, you got Sarasa here, who is just a tall girl with energy out every freaking core of her body.
Tall
and it's kind of a nice contradiction, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, the comparison of like what is, or what the opera house or whatever had seemingly seen as good or regular type of thing. You know, you have this.
I also like how brutal this show's been. Like, the episode after the stalker shit was focusing on anorexia and bulimia.
Oh.
So yeah, no, Kageki Shojo has potential, and it seems to be growing each episode. Remake Our Life has been great. But I'm just sitting here looking to myself and saying to myself, am I just expecting too much?
Maybe.
Like, it might be true. Might be just expecting too much, because I left last episode saying to myself, man, this just felt a bit too fast.
Maybe.
Because the whole episode ended with Aki confessing to Hashiba by kissing her, right? Right? And of course, Nanako saw it, and Nanako's becoming closer and closer to Hashiba. Where this comes into issues is Hashiba already had a connection to Aki to begin with, because in his, the previous life, he, like, Aki's art was what allowed him to, keep going a bit, right? Because in real life, like in, the future, Aki's a world-renowned artist.
Right, yeah.
Right? And I just feel like, I think the show is really pushing those two. Like, they are really pushing those two.
Okay.
Together as a couple. And I think it would have been better to have Nanako be the first.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you see what I mean when I say that, right?
You want her to be the first or what?
So instead of, like, have Aki kiss Hashiba, have Nanako do it, right? And have Nanako do it, because they clearly... Here's the thing. It's hard to take this love triangle that they're trying to set up seriously, because we could already see the show and how it's pushing, right? It is pushing, and I mean pushing, Aki and Hashiba together. Like, it's pushing them so hard. And I'm thinking it would have done the show better if Nanako was the first one to make the move, right?
Okay.
Because then you can... Say again?
I guess that makes sense.
Like, I just think it would have been able to allow better moments, because we as a viewer, Nanako doesn't stand a fucking chance. Like, there's no way she's winning.
Now all I'm thinking is the quintessential quintuplets now.
Yeah, but that show was ruined by poor writing.
The fact that you just...
Because the author was just like, yeah, the girl who's done fucking nothing all series, who's just been there as, like, a third wheel most of the time. Yeah, she's actually the one who wins. What? Ugh, that was just... I still... Like, I loved the first season of Quintessential Quintuplets, right? I completely ignored the second season because I read the manga, and the manga had one of the worst endings I've ever seen.
Now you're just reminding me of that Fever Dream manga where the polygamy is only given to people that are like heroes or rich or whatever, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. The polygamy aspect of Realist Hero is really turning me off the series.
Some interesting stuff out there.
Like, I just don't get, like, okay, it's the medieval times, sure. But how would people be willingly okay with this?
I'm gonna have a polygamy. Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't say anything because there's people that are actually polyamorous. So, you know what? You go ask.
And then the final show to these three is Detective is Already Dead, which I'm going to change. The detective is obviously not already dead.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's so obvious she isn't dead.
She isn't dead?
But I think it had some animation issues 2 episodes ago. But other than that, I think it's been a genuinely enjoyable show. Characters are unique and fun. I really, really love the character designs in this show.
Smells like fish now in this house.
And I can't deny the cameo of Fubuki and Matsuri really made me smile.
Oh. The fact that they could actually pull off put Fubuki in this and then be like, doesn't she look a little bit similar to the main other MC? I'd be like, oh, okay, no, it's all good. It's all good. They're different.
Well,
they're different.
Well, no, one thing I like is that they weren't cameoing as some other character. They were cameoing as themselves.
I know that, and that's what
like that. Really... That made me smile because that just makes it much more important, right?
That's also what I just referenced to the fact that one of the MCs looks kind of like could be a relative or something even.
Well, Siesta looks nothing like her.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. You're the one watching the series.
No, the show is really, really good. And I'm genuinely interested to see where it goes. I do hope the animation issues fix up, because it looked like they were running across green screens in an episode.
Oh, they also... Oh, Smite had a goddess reveal for Charbidis.
Yeah, I saw that. I think they said she's supposed to be a close-range hunter.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird. But okay. We need more hunters.
Yeah, you said you watched another show?
Let's see here. What is even... I watched a couple episodes of Aquatope.
That's just great.
Aquatope has been pretty fun so far.
I love it. It is everything I expect from a PA Works Working Girls original.
I don't think I've watched the last episode though so far that came out. So, I watched a couple episodes or several episodes of the Moonlit Fantasy one.
Yeah, I've been seeing that one get a lot better reviews than I expected.
It's interesting. I mean,
I will say the character designs are really good.
Oh yeah, they're good. And then it also makes me wonder, you know what? Why go for the humans anyway? If you're hated by the humans, just go for the Inhumans, man. They're looking pretty decent right now. Otome Game, I watched a couple episodes. Haven't watched the last 2, I think.
They've been good. I mean, it's nice. It's interesting to see how they've been balancing the whole new story in a sense. They're focusing a lot on the dark magic aspect that was shown in the last season.
Yes. And they're introducing more characters. Yes. I don't think I watched the latest episode of the Slime one, but I watched the 3 before that.
3 before that? Chewy, I think it's like 6 episodes in.
Is it 6 episodes in?
Let me check.
I thought it was like 5 or 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's 5.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I watched up to 3 or 4. So.
Oh, I mean, it's pretty much they literally. Here's the thing about Slime that I like. It has literally just been talking, and I've loved every single fucking moment of it.
Yeah, this is just talking. So it's
and now we're finally getting the battles starting next episode.
And
it's gonna be really pleasurable to watch Clayman get everything destroyed.
I actually have been really wanting to watch Make You Black Company because I think I actually read the manga and it wasn't too bad. It was interesting. It was way more interesting of a isekai than what we've got so far with all these OP guys.
Well, on the presentation, it definitely looks like it has personality.
Besides that, I don't know. I haven't watched anything else. I don't think so.
If there's shows that I am planning on looking at, eventually, Vanitas no Kate is getting some reviews. If I hate myself, I'll watch Girlfriend.
If you hate yourself, you'll go watch Mahoko Koko no Yutose.
Yeah. And I'm also going to mention Higurashi continues to be Higurashi. It is just... I'm wondering if they're finally going to start making Satoko have repercussions for what she's done.
Maybe.
Because at this point, she's nothing more than a selfish sociopath.
Realist Hero's been... alright so far.
Yeah. But the final show I want to end on before we start talking about mechs is the situation with My Hero Academia. Because here's the thing. I think My Hero has ran into a bit of a conundrum that it was impossible to avoid.
That would be...
I think My Hero's story has never been better. The Endeavor story and the story about Deku trying to find out more about his powers is bloody brilliant, right? And if you look at My Hero, it's being animated and adapted pretty much like every other arc. Like, Bones has a distinct way they adapt this series, right? And I think that's what screwed them.
What?
Because they just finished the Endeavor arc, right? And like Bones always likes to do after an arc, they like to do one episode as like a break and reset, right? So that leaves 6 episodes to cover an arc that you cannot cover in 6 episodes. Right?
Okay.
And this is where the issues come in, because what's My Hero supposed to do in its final 6 episodes, right? Is it supposed to cover an arc that they can't fully finish? Since My Hero, I think the only time My Hero has ever ended a series in the middle of arc was season, I want to say, no, they actually never have. The only time they've ended outside of like the start of an arc is season 2, when they ended season 2 literally at the beginning of the next arc. So My Hero, they have never ended a season in the middle of an arc. They've always ended at the beginning of the next one, right? So season 4 ended at the start of Endeavor's whole story, right?
Yep.
Season 3, it ended at the start of Overhaul and that arc. And season 2, I already mentioned. Season 1 ended just before the start of the tournament arc, right?
Okay, yeah, I remember.
I don't know how My Hero season 5 ends, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh.
Because they've walked themselves into a corner due to the fact that they still haven't covered the Meta Liberation Army arc.
Nope.
Which plays a huge role into the reasons for the next arc, which is the paranormal war arc, which is pretty much the Meta Liberation Army combines with Shigaraki. And they start a giant fucking war, which is like, it ends in people dying, which you don't see in My Hero.
Oh boy. You don't see it happening too often, but yeah.
Well, when's the last, outside, I think the only time somebody has died in My Hero is the end of the Overhaul arc.
Yeah, the one with Night Eye, right? Or,
yeah.
Spoiler, Night.
But I don't know how they cover it. And a lot of people are suggesting, oh, they're only doing this to prepare the movie, right? The movie airs tomorrow.
Huh.
Like, literally, the movie is apparently airing tomorrow in Japan.
So there's only, like, 6 episodes left?
There's 7 episodes total, but Bones, unless they change the way they animate, they are going to be doing a build-up episode tomorrow.
So that means technically
or the next arc. And it makes me wonder, what are they going to do for the next arc? Are they going to end up cutting a majority of the Meta Liberation Army arc, right?
Yeah, because that literally would mean the rest.
But Bones never does that. They have adapted My Hero to almost a full perfection. Like, I've read the whole thing. There isn't much they are missing, right?
Why the fuck are they actually doing a recap episode now, then?
They don't do recaps. It's usually just a build-up breakdown.
Well, why are they doing a build-up breakdown, then, right now?
Because it's just how they adapt. So, like, I'll give you an example, right?
But I'm very confused how the hell they're supposed to get past that.
That's why I'm worried. That's why I'm confused.
You know what, Marcel? I'm just gonna say they're gonna throw out some, like, post-it, pin-ups and stuff, and that's it.
Like, the Meta Liberation Army arc is 23 chapters, right?
Pin-ups of Dick. Oh, you know what? No, actually, people would like that. Never mind. I don't care about that.
Like, if we compare how many episodes Bones usually does for chapters of that size, when they go 20, they usually do it about 10 to 13 episodes.
Actually, people like everything.
So it makes me wonder, generally, how are they going to end this season?
I generally don't know.
Because season 6 is going to be covering the Paranormal Liberation War arc, right? Which is everything that sets up the final act, which is... Can I also just say the final act has been so fucking brilliant?
This is still season... Yeah, okay, yeah.
So, like...
I don't know, man. Maybe...
It makes me generally wonder what they're going to do. Since we all know a season 6 is coming, there's no way in hell they're going to stop adapting My Hero.
No way with the popularity.
The popularity, the quality. I mean, I don't think there's been a season below 8 ever.
Dang, I really...
But, like, the next episode they're doing is part of the paranormal... Yeah, part of the Meta Liberation Army. Oh, no.
What?
Never mind.
Never mind?
I think they're skipping the Meta Liberation Army arc.
They're gonna go
because the next episode, the last episode, its trailer ended with people going to visit. You know the guy who was made of smoke, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how the Paranormal Liberation Army arc starts.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I think they're skipping the meta. They're either going to have it told as a background.
They're going to do it in media res.
But, like... No, like, literally, next episode is showing the prologue to the start. Where, Aizawa, Hero Mike, and the old man go talk to the shadow guy, right?
Yeah.
And it's just... Like, in my opinion, I think Season 5 has been really good. It was very slow at the beginning because again, this is how Bones adapts. They like to adapt everything fully, right?
Mm.
And pretty much since episode 98, I think My Hero season 5 has been just a 9.5 out of 10. Like, I think the stories are that good. I think the Endeavor arc is brilliant. And I'm just trying to think in my head, is the Meta Liberation Army arc so important that it can't be skipped?
I don't know.
Because I think it will hurt the show, because you're going to wonder who the hell Destro and all his goons are. But I also think there are ways around it storytelling wise that can inform you to who they are. Because straight up, the Paranormal Liberation Army arc is going to be ridiculously long. Like, the longest arc in My Hero before this was 41. Paranormal's 54 chapters. So, like, I think Paranormal's going to be, like, it's going to be season 6 and maybe even season 7.
So you think they're gonna throw Meta Liberation somewhere in the middle?
I think they may do, like, remember stories. Like, maybe they have Shigaraki and Destro go over it and start, like, what's the word I'm looking for? A backtrack story. Like, there's a chance they start the Paranormal Liberation Army arc here in season 5, and then in season 6, the first arc is the Meta Liberation Army arc to explain how we got here. Because, again, season 6 is going to be fucking long. And, like, I'm very curious, because in my opinion, My Hero season 5 is the best storytelling My Hero's ever done. It's not even close. And while I think not having the Meta Liberation Army arc would hurt the show, I don't think it does enough for me to not say this is, again, My Hero being brilliant. Right? And I also think maybe the reason they're telling this story like this is because they want to push some time between them and the manga.
Okay.
Because if you don't know, the manga's only like the Paranormal Liberation Army arc, right?
Should be the last.
The manga that takes 54 chapters, so that's going to take a bit and a half, right? The manga itself's only 15 chapters ahead of that.
Oh, okay.
So, like, they're still taking their time on season 6 and sploosing in the Meta Liberation Army arc may do enough to buy them some time. So when they do season 7, they'd have enough room to not be worried about catching up to the manga, right? Because it's very clear to me they want to finish this series. There's no way they would be going to season 6 without that idea, right?
Right. It's too popular.
But yeah, no, I'm just very interested to see what they do in the final arc. Because I've been loving season 5. I think pretty much the first bit was slow, but it had enjoyable battles, and I always enjoy seeing the improvements of the students.
My headphones keep coming off my head.
And pretty much once 98 hit, I think it's been My Hero at its best storytelling-wise.
Am I the opposite of you, Marcel? Do I have a small head problem instead? No,
but yeah, so shall we start talking about mechaphilia?
No, because that's gross.
So yeah, the mecha anime genre. It has been
Mechanophilia is no laughing joke. It is a thing that is grossly exists.
Okay, shut up. I think the mech genre, and I'm talking about like mecha, like monsters, like robot monsters fighting each other, right?
Robot monsters?
I think the mech genre, for the most part, might be the genre of anime that has fallen down the gutter the most. Because remember years ago when, like, mech was, like, the big genre, right?
Yeah.
Like, we'd see a new Gundam, we'd see a new Sokya no Fanfare, we'd see many other mecha shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, pretty much since, oh god, I want to say maybe 2017, 2016, mecha anime has kind of just fallen off the cliff.
I feel like it was earlier than that, but hey.
I mean, we've seen some mecha shows come up. The Gundam has had some things pop up.
Gundam build. Woo.
Gridman has tried to do its thing.
Valve Rave Liberator. That was like 2000-ish now.
And then
it was like Majestic Gingo no Prince or whatever. It was like, again, 2000 area. Hello? Oh.
What's up?
The internet disconnected there for a second.
Well, you're still here.
No,
but
like, I came back because you completely weren't even there for a bit.
But like you could probably say the best mecha in recent time is probably 86.
In the last couple years?
Yeah, like last 5 years, mecha hasn't had anything. I mean, Gundam Build Divers was good. I will give you that.
I don't know if I would really consider.
Well, Gundam Build Divers is mecha. How could you not consider Gundam Build Divers mecha?
No, I don't consider. I don't know. I don't really consider 86 mecha really too much. I kind of think it's like a, hybridish. There was Back Arrow, but then that turned out to be a disaster.
What'd you say?
Back Arrow turned out to be a pretty bad disaster.
Yeah, and then we had Grand Blim, which wasn't great. Well, like, no, I wanted to take this episode to talk about mecha, talk about the great ones, talk about the underrated ones, right?
Let's see.
So, like, here's a question, Chewy.
No, I consider Gundam Build Divers Crazy Goo Re-Rise. It's pretty
Like,
decent.
I think Gundam Build Divers, especially the second season, is underrated.
Re-Rise.
Yeah, like, I think Re-Rise is underrated. I think the original series wasn't that bad. It was a little too kiddie for my taste.
I think that was the entire thing, was that it was too, like, how should I say? Not paper mache, but like...
Simple?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much, in a sense. That's why the writer wanted to redeem himself with the second one. Like, it was too easy to kind of conclude, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
The reasons and everything, the emotions behind it, was all just a little bit too stereotypical or easy to use. An easy way out, basically, in a sense.
We should at least acknowledge the Macross series.
Macross Frontier and stuff like that.
Well, like Macross everything. Like, this has been a mecha genre anime that's been going on since, I think, since 1983.
Yeah.
So, like, that, it's impressive to be able to stick around. Another one, though, we have to acknowledge the Gridman universe.
Oh, Gridman was great, the original one.
It brought in a unique take back, like the old, what's that word? It starts with a T.
Throwback?
You know, the Godzilla things.
The Godzilla things.
Well, you know, the battle. You know how Godzilla used to battle. What the fuck is that word? It starts with a T.
Mecha Godzilla?
No, like it's like Taigetsu or something.
Tomika?
I don't know, but like it brought back those.
Tokusetsu?
That's it. Yeah, it brought back Tokusetsu style battles, which are a treat on the eyes, in my opinion.
Why don't you just go watch Tokusatsu stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, literally. Why don't you go watch Tokusatsu stuff?
Because I wanted to watch stuff that actually is visually pleasant on the eyes.
Tokusatsu stuff literally is pretty decent now.
No, but like, Move Love deserves a little shout out too for being, you know, it's decent. There's a new Move Love series coming out in the fall.
I'm still confused why didn't you just watch Tokusatsu stuff?
Because Tokusatsu stuff is like from 1940.
You don't have to watch 1940s. They literally still make Ultraman now.
And then, of course, we got Knights and Magic. Personal favorite from mine and you.
Oh, very good. Very good. The whole thrown into another world, but the world is like got magical mecha.
I always like the design of the mechs in that show.
I mean, they're trying their best to make it, you know, original, and you know, you see that. But at the same time, there's definitely a lot of
like, there's a lot of shows out there that have like taken up the mecha genre, and we're seeing more and more try. Like Kurumakuru was something that I enjoyed.
That was the original one, right?
Well, there's only been one.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, it was an original. It wasn't based off a manga.
Oh yeah, no, it was original. And it was good. Like, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's a shame it ended where it did, because it ended on a giant cliffhanger, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
But it was good. Then we also see the mecha shows like 100 and Infinite Stratos.
Would you really consider those to be mecha?
I mean, they're as close. They're closer to mecha than other shows.
That's true. A little. What was it? Shingeki Bahamut or something?
Yeah, that one I at least enjoyed. Right. I actually really did enjoy that show.
Compared to Infinite Stratos and
well,
100.
I think my issues with like those two shows is those two shows tried so hard to take themselves seriously.
It's too late. Oh.
But another show that actually was made around that time that is just a giant piece of shit. It's Babuki Baranki.
Oh, the one with the
CGI one that was all CGI, and it was legit one of the worst things I've ever watched.
It was a really weird first episode.
Plot-wise, it was terrible. The CGI wasn't good at all. And it's just, you could really see in like, from like 2014 to 2017, outside of Gundam with Iron-Blooded Orphans, there really wasn't much that was truly great. Like Babuki Baranki, like I mentioned, fell apart. You mentioned Bahamut, 100, Kurumakuro. More Move Love stuff in Schwarzenmarken, which wasn't great. I think the only other show in that time frame I consider to be really good is Heavy Object.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem with Heavy Object was less to do about, like, mechs and its stuff. It's more to do about the fact that the plot had no point to it.
Just fighting wars, man.
Yeah, that's it. It's literally just fighting wars. So it was hard to get really invested in the show. But again, I will say, in comparisons to other mecha around the time, it was pretty good. It had a good comedic timing to it. And I found the idea of the mechs that they drove to be really different.
Wait, what?
Like, you remember the mechs from Heavy Object?
Oh, no, yeah.
Like, they were like these bizarre contraptions of insanity.
Did you say contraptions or contraptions?
Contraptions of insanity.
Oh, it's just a big old just a big old orb, usually. But then lots of stuff. They're a big old sphere, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And then, stuff just branching around from it. Just reminded me of, honestly, just reminded me of Dust Stars.
Oh, but like, I'm just going back and looking at some of them now, and they're just like giant balls with a bunch of guns on them.
You know what's really criminally underwatched?
What?
The Zoid series.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like Zoids is more niche.
No. I think
you also got to remember, kind of like,
I feel like,
Gundam, I feel like Zoids just doesn't mesh well with people who are older.
Really?
I don't know. I look at Zoids, plus also, who would want to watch a show that has a less than 6 on Mal, for fuck's sakes?
I think it's criminally underwatched, and also not really, how should I say, available, basically.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have any licensors.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Shall we talk about good mecha for once?
Fuck you, Zoids was pretty decent.
What about Code Geass?
I mean, yeah.
All right, here's a question then. Would you consider Code Geass the best mecha?
No.
Okay, what would be better?
I actually consider... Oh, geez. I'm pretty sure
Because it's hard for me to find a mecha that has combined storytelling, battling, and mech designs better than Code Geass.
I mean, I could just throw it and just say, you know what? If we had watched more, probably one of the Gundams.
I mean, maybe Gundam Iron Orphans, that one.
Really? You consider one of the newer ones? Okay.
I think the newer ones probably are more my taste. But even then, I don't see it beating it. Like, I think Code Geass found a way to be able to balance all of its important parts, which a lot of mechas tend to fail at nowadays.
I feel like we're completely overlooking the Gundam series, but okay, that's just us not watching that.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of Gundams I have not watched.
So I don't know if we could really make this with a full entire play here, but hey.
I feel like even if I watched them, I'd still say Code Geass. Code Geass is just...
What the No, go away! Facebook sounds.
Then turn off Facebook.
I did, but it went back. I don't understand.
Yeah, who cares? But no, I generally feel that even if I watched, like... Alright, let's just Mal Gundam series, right?
You want a Mal Gundam series?
Well, no, I'm just bringing them up, right?
Okay.
Like, I feel like there's probably a couple Gundam series I'd rate really high.
Mobile Suit Gundam 00.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of them.
Dude.
There's so much Gundam series.
Second season.
There is so much Gundam series when you really look at it. Like, I'm just scrolling from the start, and we're not even through 1988.
Kido Senshi Gundam, the origin, 8.52.
Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn.
There's a lot of 7s.
No, I think it's safe to say that Gundam has found a way to continue just to be quality. But I think in large part of the reason why we don't think of Gundam too much anymore is because the mecha genre has fallen apart.
I mean, it's just not as popular anymore, yeah.
Like, I think if the mecha genre was still as high as it was, we would still look at Gundam as a king of anime.
I think that's kind of why they only been doing, like, original series on their YouTube channel now. Maybe.
I mean, they got a movie coming out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, but they haven't really put a, like, I don't know if they actually have, but they haven't really put out an actual series since Iron-Blooded Orphans, I don't think.
All right, let's scroll down. The last Gundam series to come out was a one-episode thing called... Oh, it's with Gundam Divers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gundam Build Divers Battle Lodge.
Yeah, that was...
Gundam Build Divers was the last one, and then they did an O&A series called Gundam World Sengoku Soketskin.
Yeah, that's the one with SD Gundam, I believe.
And then they did Mobile Suit Gundam Narrative, a movie.
Yeah.
And of course, Gundam Build Divers, the original first season.
They did Hathaway, I think, which is also...
They did Counterattack, Build Fight. They've been doing a lot of Build Fighters.
Yeah. I mean, that was
no, you are right. The last non-ONA or OVA series to come out of Gundam was Iron-Blooded Orphans.
I think Hathaway's coming out. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's the one I'm mentioning.
Right?
Mobile Suit Gundam Halfway. It's got another movie.
Yeah, it's a movie, right? Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Literally Iron-Blooded...
Yeah, we haven't seen a Gundam anime outside of Build Divers that is, like, non-TV... Like, Build Divers was still an ONA, funny enough. Well, the second season was.
No, first season was.
No, first season was considered a TV series.
No, it literally says here ONA.
It says here, Prologue ONA, 1 episode, TV series, 25 episodes.
Really? It just says ONA for me.
I'm looking at Wikipedia, Chewin, and it's saying Gundam Build Divers Season 1, Prologue ONA, 1 episode, TV series, 25.
Weird.
But no, it is surprising we haven't seen much from Gundam in a while.
What the heck is wrong with this? Mouse is
But I
weird.
really do think it is, as I said, I think one of the signals that Mecha has fallen down is we're not seeing it anymore.
I wonder why that is. Maybe just not enough money from the models being sold.
Oh god, no. Gundam has made billions upon billions of dollars.
Maybe they just don't have...
By 2014, annual revenue reached 80 billion per year.
Maybe they just don't have any more good ideas.
Maybe, but also there's still manga going on and everything.
I don't know, maybe they just...
It's going to be interesting to see when a Gundam series returns to TV that's like, you know, not Build Divers.
It's gonna be my series, Marcel.
Who knows? But yeah, actually, let's talk about Code Geass, because I feel like Code Geass was a launching point for some... Like, it's one of the best shows ever made.
You think it's a launching point?
I think it was one of Mecha's peaks.
Oh, peaks. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean by launching point.
Like, even we like, look at Code Geass, right? The Akito movies are considered pretty good. The original series is considered one of the best animes ever made.
Oh, that didn't go through for some reason.
What?
My search.
What? What are you searching for?
Code Geass. Okay, yeah.
Like, the original anime series is considered one of the best things ever made, right?
Yeah, it's a good one. I really liked it. Some of those movies are kind of weird, but hey.
Hell, it's been considered so good, it's getting another season.
Wait, after the Lelouch
Well,
R2?
remember, they had the Lelouch Resurrection.
Yeah, those R2,
Which, it was very good. I watched that movie. It was good. And it somehow brought back Lelouch in a way that made sense and wasn't shitting on the previous movies, right?
Wait, there was another one that came out?
Well, there was previous movies, previous series. Like, you gotta remember, the Akito movies take place at the same time.
Ugh.
But because of that, there's gonna be another series coming out with Code Geass. Yeah, and it's going to be a new anime series.
Not a reboot, just a new one altogether.
No, they're calling it a new anime series, Code Geass. Z of the Recapture, and it'll follow the events after Code Geass Lelouch Resurrection sequel film.
Huh.
But yeah, when we're talking about Code Geass, I mean, I don't get how anybody can think Code Geass is not one of the best ever.
Yeah, no.
Because I think it symbolizes what a lot of current mecha fail at. Current mecha can't do both things.
You mean story and action?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Current mecha suck at telling a good story while keeping action good. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. I'll Noah Zero.
Ha!
I'll Noah Zero is one of the most abysmal fucking shows I have ever seen in my life. And which sucks because animation-wise, I'll Noah Zero is pretty damn good. The mech design is a little too simple for my eyes, but they do a good job at how everything moves and everything fights, right? It's just too bad the story is literal dog piss.
Is trash.
It's so bad.
Trash beyond trash.
Like, season 1 was bad in its own right because it had to make Inaho literally save everyone.
But
Oh,
guess that's
anime
a
addicts. I like it.
little bit of a...
Like, it had to make him save everyone.
think it's just personal opinion, but it's
Like, I think I've mentioned this before, right?
No, you definitely did.
Yeah, there was a fight in the second season, and it was the best fight of the series. The villains were bashing them in, the good guys were fighting back, the main character nowhere to be seen, and then he randomly fires an orbital laser from space. With no, like, there was no coordination or anything, right? They weren't working together to lure him into position. He literally just fires an orbital laser from space.
Spice.
Ugh. And it doesn't help that the characters suck.
Boy.
Like, honestly, if they replaced Inaho with Marito as the protagonist, I think I'll Know Zero would have been much better. Because you could tell a story about Marito, who is this traumatized war veteran, yet he's still finding a way to get back up to continue to fight, right? Here's the thing. They have him here because he's exactly that, but because Inano literally does everything, there's no point for him.
There's no point of him existing.
But here's the thing. One of the worst parts about season 2 was how it ends, right? You know, how they build up Inaho and the princess together, and then randomly one of the dead characters' cousins or son shows up, and then she marries him in about 5 minutes. That would have been supported much better. It still would have been shit, but that would have been supported much better if Inaho didn't exist. Like, imagine this. Imagine if this whole show had Marito as the main protagonist, right?
Aye.
And it's building around the idea of Marito. You know what? He's trying to protect the kids around him. He's trying to protect the princess, even though being in war literally terrifies him, right?
Being in war would terrify anyone, really.
Yeah, but, like, he's got absolute... I forget what his trauma was, but it's got to the point of, like, him breaking down. And then you have Slain come in as, you know, this manipulative idiot. And the whole battle between him and Slain would have been more interesting than Inaho, who literally is just there, just like, actually, Anime Addicts summarized Inaho perfectly. Inaho, the new industry standard empty shell with some desirable traits, genius, chick magnet, etc. So the average viewer can project his own personality on him and say, oh, hey, he's your everyday normal person, just like me.
So they made him literally what is it, anthropomorphic?
An empty shell.
No, I mean, like, are they utilizing anthropomorphism in a sense to just allow viewers to connect and project? That seems kind of weird.
Not really.
That seems kind of weird.
Because for a viewer to connect and project, they need to find, like, multiple ways to connect with him on an organic level, right?
I guess. Maybe then.
In the end, it feels like the studio's just like, hey, guys, look! He is this normal person just like you! But he really isn't that normal.
He's just staunch, nonchalant, deadpan all the time. It's like Kuroko, except Kuroko actually gets kind of passionate within his expressionless side. You know, it's all. I don't know. I think anthropomorphism also only works on animals anyway. So
You know what the funny part is?
What's that?
So you know this giant war, right, that gets ended?
Then in Eldenor Zero?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd think that people would be punished. Nope, just Slain. Slain is the only person out of the entire villains that gets punished.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Here's another thing. The entire plot of Season 2 is basically a war caused by a man's quest to seduce a woman through the romantic gift of genocide, and it predictably, hilariously, painfully, and stupidly enough, it completely backfires. He gets friend-zoned and sent to prison for the rest of his life. She'd rather enter an arranged marriage with a man she has never met before than you. How does it feel?
It's like getting cucked, except, they don't have romantic feelings for you on one side.
And the sad part is, outside of the characters in the plot...
That's NTR, yeah.
Like, outside of the characters in the plot, everything else about Adno Zero is pretty damn good. Art-wise, fantastic. Music. I mean, Hiroyuki Sawano, right?
Yeah, of course I know Hiroyuki.
Brilliant. He's at his, like, masterful self there.
Yeah.
I swear, here's the thing. If the characters and plot were decent, I'd be talking about this as a pretty damn good show simply because of how good the presentation is.
Yeah.
But, like, everything about the plot is just... It's one of the worst things imaginable. It's so bad.
Yikes.
Oh my god. Can we talk about something happy, Lucas?
What, you want to actually find a mecha that's actually decent? I don't know what else to tell you in this case.
Knights of Sidonia?
Yeah, it was alright, yeah.
For a CG, I think it's probably one of the better CG mecha animes out there.
Wasn't that the one Netflix did?
It's the one that Netflix had. It's not an original.
Oh.
It's getting an original movie though to end the series.
Oh. Yeah, that was pretty decent.
Oh my god, I can't believe we forgot about this one.
What?
Darling in the Franxx.
I didn't forget that one at all. I was just wondering when you were going to bring it up.
Did you watch this when it came out?
Nope. Thank God I didn't.
Have you watched it?
I watched a bit. Stop.
I remember watching this when it first came out.
I think I watched the first episode. It was weird.
And I gotta say, the first half of it was really good. Like, I genuinely enjoyed it. It had interest to it. I think the mechs design were great. I like the personality in it, right? And then it all starts falling apart.
I don't know how it wasn't already falling apart a little bit in the beginning when you.
Well, no, for the first couple episodes, it was actually pretty good. Very good, actually.
Okay,
and
so.
Then the cucking started.
I mean, was it not already kind of weird as it is that like the positions of the controls for the lady?
Oh yeah, no, that was disturbing in its own right.
Okay.
But to me, that wasn't enough to like make me say, "Oh, this show is bad."
It was really off-putting, though.
I mean, it definitely was not right, but it wasn't something enough for me to say, "Okay, this show's terrible."
Definitely
There was more
off-putting.
around the show that allowed me to
weird.
keep myself invested.
Then again, I've seen weirder stuff, I guess.
But like once the cucking started, it literally just all started falling apart.
Ugh.
And then like just the ending is just it's bizarre.
Was it because like everything? I don't know. That's kind of weird. I don't know. The way that they displayed the whole like piloting and stuff like that was like relationships and stuff, and then it got to the point where it was like,
yeah, they really focused heavily on relationships in this show.
Yeesh, they really like the NTR. And
well, I mean, you gotta remember, and then you see how it ends and how it's just like, oh, they can't have children, and then all of a sudden, the end of the series, and like everyone is just boinking. It isn't even funny. Like seriously, the end of the series. I think the only girl that didn't have a kid was the teacher girl. But like every other main girl, except for the teacher girl and the fucking bedridden one, was boinking. Then you see all the other kids around him is just like, oh my god. Like I will say, Darling in the Franxx, when you look deep into it, is very off-putting.
I don't know anymore. I'm just resorting to looking like LeVar from freaking Star Trek with my headphones now. I'm just gonna lie down here. Darling in the Franxx. Ugh. More like, darling, I'm gonna go have sex with this other dude right now in front of you. Jesus Christ. Ugh. Did it disconnect again?
No, they're still here.
Okay.
But no, like, I really do feel like Darling in the Franxx is pretty off-putting in a certain way.
When you actually watch the entire series.
Well, when you actually watch it and look deep into it.
Dissect it all.
Yeah.
Look at it in retrospect afterwards when you watch the entire series.
Yeah.
And then you see, oh, these are unhealthy relationships.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, actually, no. I think Kokoro's relationship is probably the only one that's healthy.
These are some pretty dark and gross relationships. But they're boinking, so you know, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, and that's just the weird part. It's insane to me how the series just ends and, like, everyone is just pregnant.
Everyone's boinking except for MC, right? Isn't it?
The MC's kind of dead.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, they've made it seem like he died. The only ones that aren't boinking are Miku and the bratty boy, but they seem to be in a relationship. And Ikunu, the old one, who turns out to be a giant lesbian. And then bedridden at the end.
Well, you know, You know what? Just
like again, by the end of the series, freaking like they've had. I think it's so wild to me what this show became.
You know what, Marcel? Rule 34 and hentai artists need source material anyways, so why not?
Like even the fatty has kids with some random girl.
Yeah.
It's just
wait. Don't say like that. Don't say
I mean,
like that.
I will call Futoshi a fatty for all I care about.
I don't say this because that's a microaggression. No, it is. I think
It's just weird to me, okay? It's just honestly weird how it's, as you said, a lot of this whole show is built around relationships and sex.
some of them unhealthy, some of them just dark.
And people want to talk about the ending of Darlin and the Franks being bad. I'm like, okay, I can see it being a bit wild, but it was very obvious, like those the eight, as they were called, were bad guys, right? I think a lot of people aren't looking into, as what you said, just how honestly disgusting this show is when you really look into it.
I mean, yeah. It's just
Oh, I need a shower after that.
You know what? If you guys are just happy in the type of relationship, I mean, good on you. Just, you know, it's just kind of, yeah.
Alrighty, is there a final mecha you want to talk about, or shall we go into our closing statement?
You know what? Should we talk about Gundam? Actually, talk about in more depth Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise.
I mean, we never did really talk about it, so yeah, let's end on Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise.
So here's what I'm thinking here. This is not too bad of a comeback, I suppose, in a sense, because again, I think Iron-Blooded Orphans was a couple years ago, the last season.
I believe Iron-Blooded Orphans ended in 2017. Let me check.
Yeah, wasn't this like 2019, 2020 area for Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise?
Gundam Build Divers, yeah, it was ended last year. Yeah, Gundam Build Bloody Orphans. Yeah, the last part of the second season ended in 2017.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say that this is probably the best Gundam from reviews I'm seeing. Definitely something I'd probably take a look into, actually.
But yeah, I feel like, you know, it's Sunrise, isn't it?
Hmm?
Isn't it Sunrise or whatever? That's
yeah, it's Sunrise Beyond that did Re-Rise.
I feel like Sunrise and Bandai are...
Hell, Sunrise Beyond was literally developed to do Re-Rise.
Yeah, because they're the
and now they're helping with Love Live Superstar.
Oh.
Which apparently has no studio credit to it.
Weird. Okay.
And they're also doing Gundam Build Divers Iron Orphans Uraru Hunt, which is another ONA series.
Oh, well, okay.
They're also doing this... is it original? Yeah, it's an original. They're doing an original mecha called Kyokai Senkai.
Oh.
Which, I mean, I don't know if this is just me, but this feels like a rip-off Gundam with the way it's designed.
Probably just
like
Gundam,
look at that like look at that mech.
What?
I feel like if you put that in Gundam, people wouldn't bat an eye, if you know what I mean.
Let's see here.
Oh. I mean, yeah.
I don't say that's a bad thing. I mean, oh no, I think I actually may watch this if it's airing in the fall, which it is. There's a lot of good stuff airing in the fall, by the way.
Interesting. This looks interesting so far. It looks like it's just
Another variant of Gundam, really.
Yeah.
Reminds you of like Recognista and stuff like that, and Violent Orphans. But basically, I feel like Sunrise, with their creation of Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise, was just, and Gundam Build Divers, I suppose, back in 2018 area, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
This is like their attempt at something a little bit more
To rebuild in a sense.
Yeah, but also to reinvigorate a passion as well, because what I think what I like about Gundam Build itself is that not only do they throw in like the older mechas altogether, all the older Gundams in general, but they also throw in like the original spin-offs based off these Gundams themselves, so it allows for a lot of fans to kind of connect to it, because if they watch the older Gundam animes, they'll recognize a lot of them more, or if they just collect a lot of Gundams in general, just know a lot about the universe in general, they'll see all these references and everything on top of it. And I think they did that even better after, because first there was Gundam Build Fighters, and then Gundam Build Fighters Try. They didn't do too bad about that. There was a little bit more kiddier than
Yeah, but
a little bit. But there was also like a tiny bits of interesting plot points.
I will say Build Divers was definitely really good by the end of it.
I think Re-Rise or Divers.
Yeah, Re-Rise. Yeah, sorry.
Divers,
I think Divers did a decent job at least setting up the premise.
Mm-hmm. And then Re-Rise just sealed it.
I also feel that Re-Rise doesn't do enough to remove something that would definitely haunt it, and that's the kid aspect.
Like the fact that they're all children, most of them are children.
Yeah, straight up. I think because of the fact that, especially with Divers, there's too much of a children's aspect to this show.
Well, for Divers, for sure.
Re-Rise has it a bit.
But at the same time, they pull it off so much better, though, because they actually give them growth. Like, everyone.
Yes, I do. But again, my biggest issue with this is if Gundam wants to return to Iron-Blooded Orphans, which again, by all intents and purposes, I've never seen somebody say a bad thing about that show.
It's not bad.
They really need to understand. They just need to find a way to return back to it, right? I do not think Re-Rise is that.
I don't think it's a clear way to back, but it's not a bad start, honestly, because there's still seriousness to this, right?
There is, but that kids aspect looms over this show like a fucking plague.
Like, that was the whole point in the very beginning. It still had that, this is a kid's show, but then it had
but the sequel, the twist doesn't really do enough to turn it from more than just a kid's show. Because we've seen twists like that in kids' shows.
Really?
Yes!
Well, I suppose you could throw everything in a show.
Like, do not get me wrong. I think Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise is very good. I've already told you this. But I also think if people looked at Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise and said, this just looks like a kid's show, I wouldn't blame them.
Because it does have that sort of style.
It has that style, and because of Gundam Build Divers, it does nothing to show that it's more than that. And that's the big thing here. Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise, from an outside look, does not do enough to show what the show actually is.
You think if they had a couple deaths, they would be a little bit more severe?
No, I think you see I think the issue is the presentation,
Oh, it's just the animation and art style altogether.
especially the art style. Look at that first season PV, right?
I mean,
The first season PV looks like something we'd see out of a kid's show.
wasn't
It feels like just a generic sequel to Gundam Build Divers.
Couldn't you also argue on the fact that Puella and Madoka Magica look like a little bit like any other magical girl
But
show?
Madoka Magica had Shaft's presentation behind it. That's the big difference. Like, look at Madoka Magica's first PV, right? There's nothing telling you about that show. It's a brand new show that came in, right?
Hmm.
And one thing that works with Madoka Magica is that the PV doesn't show you what's going to happen. It makes it look like, oh, you're just in for a cute little magical girl show, when in reality you're working towards getting your freaking brains rattled. But you can't compare it because also Madoka Magica didn't have a prequel.
I guess that's also another thing.
Like, that's a big thing there you're missing, is Madoka Magica didn't have a prequel.
So you think because of a stigma left over from divers? And
Yeah, because you know how people are.
Yeah, I suppose that, yeah.
Like, look at Gundam Build Divers PV, right?
Mm.
And compare it to the first season. It is pretty much identical.
Yeah.
Like, literally, the only difference is instead of them going up, they're falling down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
So if people looked at Gundam Build Divers and did not like it, and they see Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise have similar presentation, there's nothing that's going to save Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise. Especially considering that the first part of it didn't have the twist. It didn't have the energy.
But I thought it was all about the writing, though, Marcel.
Hence why I said it didn't have the twist, it didn't have the energy.
I thought
It's pretty obvious that the first half of Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise is average as hell. The second half is very, very good.
Yeah, I thought it was all about the writing, though.
What do you mean all about the writing?
Yeah, to make a decent show. To have
Yes,
people
but
actually
again,
enjoy
if
it
you
in the
don't
end.
find a way to get away from your stigma and the thing that holds your show back, it doesn't matter how good the writing is. And in my opinion, the writing at the start of Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise was not good enough to make people not have that stigma.
Oh.
Like, you see my point about that, right?
I see your point.
Hmm.
I also see this gun that I'm going to press to your temple the next time I see you.
You say that every other week.
I'm going to stab you, good sir.
But yeah, no, your question of where does Gundam go from here is probably what Sunrise are asking themselves too.
Honestly, I don't think it's Re-Rise is the bad first step, though.
No, but I also don't think they're using it as a step at all. I think where Gundam is going is Hathaway.
I think it is trying to go through more Hathaway, yeah.
Yeah. I think they wanted to put out Re-Rise as something to bridge the gap and, you know, give you a chance to breathe before Hathaway came back out.
Or experiment.
Well, that too. I mean, you can make the case they're doing similar things with Yasahime.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which, by the way, its second season is coming out too.
Oh. Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like it was also just sort of an easier entry point as well for some, I suppose.
True, but if you're entering on Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise, and like Gundam Build Divers, you're not really experiencing what Gundam actually is. Like, you're going to be in for shell shock when you go to, say, the other Gundams and realize, oh, this is nothing like Build Divers or Re-Rise in any way.
No, like as I said before, it's a weird, soft entry point type of thing. And then if you're more interested in all the variety of Gundam that they actually introduce to you or keep referencing in
I don't know how much is an entry point it is, because I look at, like, say, entry points as shows that allow you to go into other shows, right? I don't see how Re-Rise and Build Divers do that when their plots are so vastly different compared to the other Gundams.
Yeah, well, so was freaking Double Zero to what, like...
Say that again, I could barely hear you.
I feel like there's still differences between the Gundams themselves, too, though, at that point. Because, like, what was it? The one with the blazing...
To an extent, yeah, but I think you could say that, like, Gundam Build Divers and Re-Rise are very soft shows.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that's what I'm just saying, like, from there, your interests in, like, seeing mechas and stuff like that, or, like, seeing different types of references... You know, and the fact that they also put it on YouTube so you could see all these multitudes of comments too and everything like that. You then, you're like, well, what are these references? What is this term and stuff like that and all that, and you start looking them up and you're like, oh, cool, interesting. Oh, I like this design. It's from this anime. Okay, I'm gonna go check it out. Let's see where they're streaming this one. And then you go and you wrap yourself and you're like, oh, this is very different. Oh, okay, well, this is okay. I see why there's a severity in this. Good God, Keto, why are you fucking your sister?
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know.
Alrighty, though. But do you want to end it here?
Just blathering some nonsense that doesn't exist anymore.
I feel like this is a good place to end it.
I'm going to stab you real hard with the X-Acto knife. And then.
Alrighty, this has been EHRPG. It's episode 31, right? I'm going to just take that as a yes. Next week, however, we have a special episode for you guys.
We're going to talk about our personal
It's an anime
lives.
podcast. And if it's an anime podcast, there has to be a hentai episode.
Oh, we are actually talking about it. Okay.
Yes, we are. The episode may be 10 minutes because Lucas may blow his brains out, but, it'll be fun.
Do I have to put a picture of a very pixelated penis up or something?
No. You can do stuff that represent hentai that isn't going to get this channel deleted.
Put our icons over a very pixelated censored dick mosaic.
I'm going to... Anyway, we will see you next time with the legendary anime hentai episode. Bye!
I'm going to have to look up those pictures before they have the mosaics, aren't I? I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, that was fun.
It's still going. I haven't ended it. I don't know why are you trolling me? You're trolling me right now. Jesus.